It is 8 o'clock, shortly after. We'll call the meeting to order. Start with roll. Paul,
Here.
Dean,
Here.
Dustin,
Here.
Bernie,
Here.
Neil, can you hear us? Are you there?
Here.
Courtney's here. Corey?
Here.
All right. Amanda Engelstad's also here. First of all, did everybody have a chance to look at the agenda? Anybody have any additions or changes to the agenda?
I have a couple, yes.
Okay, Bernie?
Dates for the circus. Last year there was a controversy about Shriner Circus and the circus that was at the fairgrounds, which the people want the same dates as the fairgrounds as the Shriners, and I think that needs to be discussed.
Okay.
And then I've got some bids here from Electric Sales that I've been asked to bring in. One is for outlets underneath the bleachers on the west side there, and also for some lighting back there, so there's two separate bids for that. And I guess, that's probably, I've got some other things, but they can fall under the things that we already have going on here, so.
Okay, so I've got circus dates and bids for electric for new items. Anybody else have anything else to add?
I guess maybe, like who is in charge of the events calendar, because everything's been falling on Bailey, and it should be coming, and she is a park board employee, but, I mean, events calendar is not under her job description, I don't believe, so I think that needs to be discussed. If it comes to the chairperson here where it goes, I don't know.
Okay. All right, I'll add events calendar coordination.
Right.
Okay. All right, anything else? Anybody else? Okay, looking for a motion to approve the agenda with those 3 additions.
I'd make that motion.
With the motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Great, all those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign. All right. We have in our packet some minutes of the last regularly scheduled meeting on February 3rd, and then the special meeting, which was on February 19th. Reviewing those, anybody have any corrections, additions, clarifications that they want to bring to the board's attention?
Yeah, just a minor thing on the 19th, second to last paragraph, my name spelled the second time wrong.
Any other changes?
Other than that, I make a motion to approve.
I'd second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the February 3rd minutes as is, and to approve the 19th minutes with the spelling change to Dean's name on that second
Thank you.
paragraph, or second page, excuse me. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Pose same sign. Thanks, Bailey. All right, that passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Looks like we have some bills for approval in the general fund in a total of $509.12. I don't have information about those, do you know?
I'll make a motion to approve the $509.12.
All right, there's a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a roll call vote. Paul?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Dustin?
Aye.
Bernie?
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
Courtney votes aye. Corey?
Aye.
All right, that passes. And then we have from the special project fund a total of $128,900.43 from Two's Construction for the livestock building, apportionment number 6. Is that what APP stands for? Application number 6? I assume this is just a regularly scheduled payment that we make to them for that building. Anybody else have any differing information on it?
I don't know if Mr. Tooze would want to give us a update.
Good morning. We are pretty much done with everything on the erection of the cattle structure and the cattle building. We were waiting to do the concrete to the east until the frost is out of the ground. The electrician is about 50% done. He does need to trench from the transformer to the main building and then to the cattle covered structure. He is gonna start next week, but he probably won't get that trenching done. My guess would be closer to April 1st until the frost is out of the ground. So, other than that, we are pretty much done with everything on the building. We are kind of waiting to see on the drains. I know Neil's on the phone. We've talked a little bit about putting in a interceptor to collect the cattle waste that's on the pad, which wasn't in the initial plan. That's really not a big deal until we get out there and start getting close to pouring concrete. So, other than that, we're pretty much done with the building. So,
But that, yeah, I drove out there yesterday. It looks cool.
yep. So, I did get Todd with the road department, the mixed design in the dirt that Winco and J.E. Dunn used for the DSU arena building. It was sourced locally, so Todd looked at it, thought he could handle that because for cattle traffic and horse traffic, they did come up with a special mixed design. So
Is the concrete something that you guys do yourselves, or do you sub that out?
we do it ourselves.
One thing I'll note with concrete as you're planning areas where livestock are gonna walk, just make sure it's not like that perfectly smooth,
Oh, no.
nice,
No,
pretty
that-
surface.
We have a rake that, yep, a tread rake for
Yeah.
it. Yep. You don't want a high gloss on it?
No,
You don't want them falling?
it would look so good.
Yeah, all right.
Speaking from experience. All right,
Anything
any
else?
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion to approve that, number 6 for $128,943?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Paul?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Dustin?
Aye.
Bernie?
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Corey?
Aye.
All right. So the next item is the voting discrepancy for the Speedway bid approval. I'll just bring this up very generally and then hopefully get some comments from the group, but it was, I guess, brought to the board's attention after the Speedway bid approval that Mr. Marsh might have a conflict of interest in making his vote. I don't know if you want to shed light on that.
I can address it a little bit. You know, I've been, years and years ago, I've been involved with the Speedway, sponsors cars, not one, but multiple people. Instead of giving one driver $5,000, I split it up with 10 or 12 drivers, giving $500 just to keep into it. There used to be a program out there, I'd sponsor one of the pages in there. There was a little Herbie car race, I don't remember what it was called, but I sponsored, that was one of mine. I had hired a video person to video the races and, you know, for the drivers and stuff. So I've always been a supporter of the Speedway. Up to this point, I don't believe, my son does all the discussion with finding places to, you know, as far as doing the concessions out there. I don't think there's been any discussion with the new group that's coming in. But the bottom line is, my name is on the license, and I do have financial income from it, and so, yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking that this Speedway is an important part of it. I wasn't, you know, probably the best thing that happens to me is my wife loves selling concessions out there. So, I mean, anyway, I guess it's, I don't know if it's a legal call or whatever, but I do get some financial gain from being there. So I overlooked it just in the heat of the thing that I want to make sure that this facility stays in Stark County.
And Amanda, the state's attorney, did do some research on this, and we've got a legal memorandum that's in the packet. If anybody wants to review that or has any questions, I mean, in my mind, it's something that probably should be redone just to square that up a little bit based on the language of the statutes. Anybody else have any thoughts or feelings strongly one way or the other?
So I think, do we just want to make another motion?
I can do that. I'll make a motion to do the repairs on the speedway and to accept the bid from Two's Construction at $230,000.
And-
Since I seconded it last time, I don't think I could do that at this point, so.
I'll second.
One other thing I wanted to bring up, just because we're, before we vote, is just to note that last time we had kind of a big group of public people here, and I don't know if you guys think that that's necessary again to call this to the public's attention, just to, I mean, I don't know how the vote's, if it's gonna change at all or what, but, just to avoid any appearance of impropriety. I don't know that it's something that legally we need to do or not, but,
I would like to throw out one detail on this. The park board doesn't have the money to do this. This has got to go to the county commission. I mean, this is so, I mean, the best that the park board can do at this point is make a recommendation. But that said, is there any, as far as, do we need to address the original motion or not?
I don't believe so. The way that the Attorney General's opinion states is just that when that occurs, the previous action is invalidated.
Correct.
So that's how I read the statute and the Attorney General's opinion. So I don't believe the previous one needs to be rescinded. I believe it's just invalidated.
so if the park board doesn't have the funds, it has to be something that is approved by the county commission. Do we want to make that recommendation, and then the county commission's gonna have to determine if they wanna have another, I guess,
Well, they, I mean,
open forum,
that's
public
the
session?
money's got to
Normal,
come
normal
from.
procedure anyway. I think it goes 3 years approved by the commission anyway, so.
Well, I mean, sometimes we actually have money in our special projects funds for things like this, but
Right,
currently we don't. So, I mean, that's pretty major detail, but I mean, just so we know, it's got to be addressed at the county commission level as well.
so Paul, are you suggesting the motion, there's a motion and a second on the floor, and then I kinda threw a wrench in it? You have a
I
alteration
think it
to
has
the
to be
motion?
voted on at this point though, because there's a motion and a
Correct.
second.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just wanted to throw that out there, just for discussion purposes.
Okay.
Madam
And,
Chairman,
yes, Neil?
just a comment, we had at length, like you referenced to, we had at length discussion and testimony regarding the bids, and I have no intention of rehashing all of that, but there are still, just as a refresher, we still have a number of issues. Even if this bid gets approved, there's still a number of other issues to get hashed out as well, so, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, so there's a motion and a second, so call it to roll call vote, I believe. Paul?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Dustin?
Aye.
Bernie?
Abstain.
Neil?
No.
Chair abstains. Corey?
Aye.
All right, so the motion passes. Subject to the, I guess, commission. So I think that knocked out county general funds transfer as well. Kind of touched on that, unless anybody else has something to discuss with the county general funds transfer. That was for the funding of that project, essentially. I think we can move on then to the 4-H memorandum of understanding and property assignment, which everybody has a copy of. Amanda has put this together, and I think talked to 4-H about it, but
Yeah, there's just a few things. Under that right of first refusal, I really reference this building. I think what we should do, and I think this was a good idea from Courtney, is just define what that building is. We could probably do it as like an Exhibit B and just define it, or we can just define it right in the memorandum of understanding, just so everyone is really clear on what we're talking about. And then also under subsection B, I just left that blank, because I have no idea what kind of time frame you guys want as far as like advanced notice for when 4-H would need to notify the park board, of when they want to use the building. And I think things are kind of up, like you had said earlier, Bernie, with scheduling and things like that anyways. So I just left that blank for you guys to kind of decide on what would work best for, both entities.
And my suggestion about adding a definition in there, maybe isn't critical present day, but
Yeah.
hopefully in 10, 15 years, there's several buildings out there, so we might want to define this one a little further.
And that's fine. I guess I should have asked if there was, if the building had been named yet. If it hasn't been, then we can put some sort of, definition or some sort of, just some way to recognize that that's the building that we're talking about.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments? Corey?
Even if we number the building right, there's a lot of facilities that have multiple buildings on a facility numbered for fire department reasons and stuff like that, if we had to number that facility.
Just some way to make sure that that's, like, the building that we're talking about 20 years down the road, that
Yeah.
commission and that state's attorney know what we're talking about in that 4-H group, so.
Yeah, and I think we can probably pull it from some of the construction language too, that has the, meets and bounds and square footage, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you change anything? He asked if they had an electronic copy that we could send around.
The electronic copy I think I sent to you.
Yeah, I didn't know if you adjusted anything after that point.
I don't believe I
Okay,
did.
okay, I'll
If it's
forward it
got
to you guys.
subsection D on it under right of first use, I haven't changed anything since
Okay.
then.
I'll send it on right now.
So when 4-H is not using it, then other groups are available. Like I know that the horse club has asked if they can use it for, if there's inclement weather, that they can go in there and ride and stuff like that. I think that would be,
Yeah, so the point of the memorandum of understanding is really just obviously between the park board and Stark Billings. And it gives them the right of first use in exchange for the equipment that they are donating. So they have to give the park board whatever kind of timely notice to let you guys know that they're gonna wanna be using that facility, these dates. Other than that, then the park board has the opportunity to use it for whatever purpose that they deem as appropriate. And then there's just, other, I think they're pretty normal conditions, right? The scheduling and coordination, I
I
asked.
just wanted to clarify that. That's.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
So then, when, one group comes in, another group comes out for horse riding, if the grounds need to be worked up in any ways, does that go back to our road department then?
That's something you guys are gonna have to decide.
And then when 4-H comes in, do they set up their panels, or, is there a liability on us if they're setting up the panels, or do we have to set up the panels? Do we have to take them down? Do they have to take them down? That is a question that I have.
So, I have the upkeep of facility in here, and I have that the Stark Billings County 4-H Council shall be responsible for any cleanup of the facility after any use by its organization, and shall return the facility to the Stark County Park Board in the condition it was received after any use of the facility by its organization. And if you're using,
But are they setting up their own panels then at that point? Is there a liability on us if they're setting that stuff up?
I do have,
indemnity.
liabilities of the parties in here too, where they indemnify us and have
So that,
to,
I'm just
yeah,
clarifying it for the recordings.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay. As far as the, actually riding in the arena, is this facility appropriate to ride in? Dustin, I guess I'd look to you or someone that's got some
Yeah, I
knowledge
think, I
about it.
mean, you're probably not gonna go barrel racing in there, but I think you could definitely ride horses in there. I don't know, Jamie, if you'd wanna,
Sure, you can exercise them a little bit, Rich, riding them around in there, yeah.
So what's the dimensions?
it's 12,000 square feet. I can't remember the length and width, but
Tracy, do you know? So that, yeah, it would be sufficient for people just getting horses in shape over the winter. And probably not, you're not hosting any events there.
Right.
but the 30 days in my mind is, I mean, I don't know what 4-H envisions in terms of, how many events they plan to have and what their schedule looks like and, getting things put on the calendar, but I mean, 45 days, 60 days seems like it would be ideal in terms of allowing other people to use it if we're talking about a calendar that is as full as I think it might be. But I also don't want to severely jeopardize 4-H's use of it by, putting too much.
It was brought to my attention, so as far as working the dirt up for riding, what's the depth that you guys need how deep?
If you're not hosting anything where you're going to be running barrels, I wish Al was here. I mean, 6 to 8 inches. It depends on what the bottom of it is and how long it's been since it's really been ripped up.
Well, Tracy, is there concrete poured across the facility too? I mean, it's just a ring of, what do we have for foundation? Again,
So there's an 18-inch foundation around the outside, just a square.
okay,
We left it down anywhere from 12 to 18 inches to put a sand sub-base in there, and then that blended material like DSU used. So you can run the tractor and everything in there.
But now we have to put something on top of
Yes,
that,
yeah.
deep enough so it doesn't mix with the sand when you're working it up.
Correct. Yeah.
okay.
how deep are the tie?
The
piers?
tie beams are 2
Tie
foot
beam.
down.
Okay.
So,
So that's, I guess.
yeah, to answer that question, yeah, there is concrete that connects the buildings. They're
Yes.
called tie beams, but they're 2 foot lower. So, and that's the reason why they're 2 foot lower is to,
Okay, well, just want to make sure everybody knows that they're
Yep.
there, right?
they're there.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna find out the hard way if you find them though.
If you find them with that tractor, you're gonna find out the hard way.
Yeah.
So, well, that's why,
Yeah.
we don't want to find them.
No, you don't wanna find them in
Yeah.
there.
Okay,
And the electrical goes under the tie beams, so
yeah.
the electrical's down.
I mean, those are some operational things we'll have to consider, is like one group wants it worked up, one person doesn't, and so I guess if you work it up, I guess you have to bring it back to, I mean, I don't know how big the process is to actually get it packed down to, because the livestock folks, when I'm talking livestock, anything other than horses, they don't need it worked up, right?
Yeah, and that's not something I know about. Dustin might know more if you're just working cattle in there.
Yeah, and I guess I'm thinking it's gonna be no different than how we treat the outdoor arena.
Well, sure.
We work it for some, we pack it for others, you're just gonna have a roof over your head.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a lot easier then.
Yeah. And I think that'll all be part of the contract and prepping and all that ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah, like at 4-H, I mean, the only thing I could really see being a real need to have it like packed hard is if 4-H wanted to have some kind of static exhibition in there where they'd want it, more like a walking surface.
And as far as riding, I mean, I think there should be a little bit of a safety assessment as far as, I mean, can we ride the perimeter of that building safely without hitting beams and all that business? Because there is a bit of a slant to those beams, correct?
Yeah, I guess I haven't been
So I
in
don't
it,
know
but
if
I
that
would
means-
I
assume
haven't
it would
been
be.
either.
Yeah.
I would think that's the same as riding around the rodeo arena. You got fences or posts there too. You
Yeah,
got-
but not overhanging.
Oh, yeah, for height, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So just-
I don't think that, I guess, I don't know. When I was in there, I didn't look like that was gonna be a problem.
I just don't know if they just need to maybe ride away from, they can't ride next to the wall, is what I'm getting at here. If you're a tall rider like Courtney, you might bonk your head on something.
I could bring a big horse and test it out.
Okay.
I guess I would maybe like some comments from the 4-H group on the days, how far out, I mean, cause just being on the fair board and scheduling, being part of that, the longer the better, just to give you more of a chance to schedule that building out and get the most out of it for everybody, but we also don't wanna cut the 4-H group short. I mean, we kinda know every year when the achievement days are, but what else are they thinking? Or-
Yeah, and I agree, and I think the biggest thing is we want to see the most utilization out of that building at the end of the day. So if we can get some numbers from, you know, a previous fiscal year, what they used and what they need for the upcoming fiscal year, the sooner the better, and then we can start allowing other activities to take place in that
I mean, give
facility.
4-H just a little leeway because it never had this kind of opportunity. I
Yep.
think that
Right.
there's
Oh,
so many,
absolutely. Yes.
I
so
agree.
many educational opportunities that could happen that they've never had the opportunity
Correct.
to do before. So give them a little time to be creative.
Yeah, it's gonna be clunky at first.
This is an exigent, correct? So if 4-H wanted to think a little bit and give you the amount of days, and then we can get a definition set for the building, then you guys could approve it next meeting, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I guess as for scheduling, I just wanted to comment that we just remind you that we do a first right of refusal. So they would get first choice anyway, and then I've just carried that into this year too, so. I
And
mean,
we-
however we want to go forwards with scheduling, I mean, and that's later in the agenda too, but.
And I think we also have something built in here. If something's not scheduled, they can just go out and use it, right? In the MOU, that's in here, so, okay.
So who do they contact if they just wanna come and use it? Do they contact Bailey or who's? We don't have anybody in charge out there.
Lucky for you, the schedule, or the MOU has a scheduling and coordination where each party will agree to, have a representative that they appoint so that scheduling can be accomplished easily.
This would be probably okay number to call.
Yeah, well, no. I'm not the events coordinator and I'm not doing, no, that's not me. But
Don't
thank
call
you for-
Bernie, is what you're saying?
I'll give them somebody else's phone number when they call. That was rude of me.
Well, I think the last time that we had this meeting and this was presented to us, I don't think we were, I don't think that I'd like to say thanks to the 4-H group for stepping up here and donating the equipment. I know you got plans for other equipment for things coming up, but, that was, the original deal was when we built this building, that 4-H was gonna participate, and I appreciate you guys doing this, so we look forward to more.
Any other comments or questions or concerns about the, I guess, draft MOU as it exists now?
I think possibly an option could be in the future with this too, is have an online booking tool that we could use, utilize for.
Online calendar, yeah.
Somebody's got to
other
be at
than
the
the
other end of it, though.
Other than the definition, I think the memorandum's great. I think it's good.
All right, so I guess Amanda, if you want to make those changes, and we'll take this up again at the next
Bert,
meeting
if
to
you wanna
finalize.
just get together with your group and figure out what you think a good amount of days would be, we can put it in there.
Kurt Freilich, NDSU Extension Agent and 4-H for Stark Billings. Dustin hit the nail right on the head. This first year is going to be very clunky, just from the standpoint, and Mr. Claris also said it, we've never had an opportunity, so to put a real solid definition, we need X number of days. You know, we're looking at potentially a shooting sports program that could possibly, but that's going on there. Their competition series across the state, 4-H, is going on right now. Would those folks want to get in there September, October, if the weather is still nice, because it is not a climate-controlled facility? Would they want to start practicing early? I don't know. You know, they have not had those kinds of opportunities available to them in the past. I'm looking at some showmanship clinics early. So as soon as you get the keys to the building, I'm probably going to be wanting to schedule something first part of June.
Great.
Yeah, and noting that it's not climate controlled, I don't know if that hinders it. I know a lot of people utilize million BTU heaters that forced air heat that you can rent for a day and bring a facility up to above 40 degrees pretty quick. So, I don't know if that's an issue, but I know we've been discussing this for the last couple of years about having the facility out there. And now that we've already put boots on the ground, started building stuff, I mean, it's a go. I mean, so if we can get, the sooner we can get some dates and stuff like that, I mean, I think everybody's been planning for this.
Yep.
So,
Can I just
exciting.
comment about the climate control thing? This is a hill I'll die on. If you have livestock out there and it's the dead of winter, you don't, in my mind, you don't want it heated because it's too hard on the animals to go from a 60, 70 degree building back outside to 0 degrees. So if you can just shelter it from the wind and the snow,
That's a big part.
that's
yeah,
the biggest
especially if they're
thing.
working hard, right?
Exactly. All right. Okay, we can move on, I think, to 2026 Fairgrounds event contracts. Haley?
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to put this on the agenda so that we can talk about contracting. I have just going forward, just know that I have not sent out anything due because of the changes that usually take place from the point, like if I were to send it now, it might change 5 or 6 times before their event actually happens. So we just wanted everything to be correct in there before their event. I guess my question to you is going forward with, how would you like me to send contracts out under the Fair Association or the Park Board? Because I don't believe that there is an updated lease on the fairgrounds from the Fair Association. So, unless that needs to be updated or,
Is it expired?
We never had one for 25. We had one for
Yeah.
24 apparently, and we never did have one for 25.
right.
Frank, do you have something yet?
We had a memorandum of understanding between the Park Board and the Fair Board. I found it the other day, I was going through the stuff, but it hasn't been looked at for a while. And I had the same question she did. We've already sent out a couple contracts. And my question is, who's gonna be on the additionally insured? You know, all these people that come out as vendors for the kids fair, we make them provide us with an insurance, and then we're listed as the additionally insured. Now, with the way we got things flipped around here now, would it be the Park Board that's the additionally insured? And then what happens if something does happen to try to come back to the Fair Board if we don't have anything in writing? So I guess what I'm saying in the memorandum of understanding, we'd be similar to the 4-H one. We'd have those particular days in July. It's July 5th this year and July 12th. That we would have those days blocked off as for the County Fair Board. That we could do those 2 events that we have then.
What was your MOU?
Pardon me?
What was the MOU between the two boards?
The Park Board and the Fair Board.
I think that one was, if I remember correctly, though, that happened prior to a transfer of property, and then that was essentially invalidated because there was a transfer of property, and then Stark County took over a bunch of things, so it was under their insurance, and then we just started entering into leases with the fairgrounds after that.
Right. Yeah, I didn't look at what the date was on the
Yeah,
memorandum of
I don't
understanding.
believe
seen
that
it.
that's,
That was what my question was gonna be today. Are we gonna do one similar like the 4-H, or what else you have in mind? I mean, I'm just figuring out how to protect ourselves in case of an issue out there. Is the person gonna come back to you, or are they gonna come back to us? I mean, who's gonna have the insurance on this thing?
Madam Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Messer.
Well, I think the liability limitations are pretty easy. You put COLs to both the credit of the Fair Association and the Park Board, so that would take care of that. But I think the point here is how we're moving forward, who's coordinating those events. I think that's where the discussions needs to be focused. Thank you.
Mr. Messer, what was COI or COL?
COL, Certificate of Liability.
Okay.
So when someone shows up in your property, you just contact your carrier. they issue one,
Correct.
they just ask who to put it to, well, we'll just put it to vote. I think that takes
That's,
care of it.
is that the same thing, COL?
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
we just have to make sure that they name us as an additional insured.
Okay.
Right.
We're gonna be both listed as additional insured, is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess we can talk about that very subject here. Yes, the Fair Association has had control of that facility for umpteen years or whatever. Last year, they didn't have a lease, which was, I knew that it was an annual lease, and I don't know why we didn't have that discussion last year, but nevertheless, given the current state of the Fair Association, are you willing and able to handle managing that facility?
Yes. Yes, I guess that's the point I've been trying to get to, is that,
Are you, though?
yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to. I mean, we've never had the situation where we've been in total control of it, because, you know, the park board's been out there, and that's one of the things I would like to see, is either a memorandum of understanding or a joint powers that says, okay, this is the park board, this is what they're responsible for, this is the fair board, this is what they're responsible for, this is the equipment that belongs to the park board, this belongs to the fair board. If you want to use that equipment, you had better ask somebody, not just go take it. Say, you know, works both directions there.
Well, I've had mixed messages from the Fair Association. I keep hearing you're not, you're, you know, just a volunteer group and that you don't have the manpower to actually run that facility. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, there's been a heavy reliance on the county to run that facility for the Fair Association.
And that's where I was getting at earlier as far as who's in charge of, I mean, because there's always been the talk that the fair board's responsible for 2 events, you know, and the park board's responsible for the rest of them. And that's where I was getting back to the point of who's the events coordinator, who's in charge of it. Is that Bailey's job? Because is that part of her job description? Then she should be compensated for it. And she is a park board employee, and I don't know if that's something she's interested in doing, but it's sort of been thrown at her. And I think that it probably should stay under the park board with Bailey or whoever's in that position to be doing that and communicate between the two organizations.
Yeah, because I'm thinking after July 12th, we've pretty well assigned all the contracts we're gonna sign. You know, the rest would be signed to, I guess, the park board.
I mean, the original makeup was you had the lease for the entire year and you ran all events from
Right.
our county fair plus whatever else was going on, right?
And I thought that worked just fine. I didn't realize there was any kind of a problem until the little event that happened in September when Lisa left there. I mean, if that's when this stuff all seemed to come up.
Me personally, I've always had just a little bit of difficulty with the whole arrangement, just for the fact that the heavy reliance of the Fair Association on the county. I mean, in my mind, if we're gonna lease the Fair Association, to the grounds, you're gonna be the operator, well then operate it. But that's not happening. I mean, you have a heavy reliance on the county.
Yeah.
And we as a county don't account for it well. And so I just, like I said,
You know, I was on the fair board for 10 years, way before I even got involved in the county. I do not believe we have the manpower to maintain it. That's why we rely so much on the county. That's why the road department's always been out there helping with this and that. And yeah, the fair board does not have the knowledge or the manpower to maintain the grounds, or the money to hire somebody to maintain the grounds.
yes.
So, I mean, I am on the fair board, but I also have to agree that we do rely a lot onto the county and onto the park board.
And that's where for me, it's like, well, if you're relying on the county anyway, I mean, the county should have a seat at the table here on what goes on out there. And I know we are in a weird spot, and I apologize to you. We always apologize to Bailey because I know we put her in a tough spot. And
I do feel.
and I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but we realize that you're in a kind of a weird spot right now. We are in this transition period right now, and we hope to get somewhere at some point here.
Okay, yeah, and all I need is just clarification on just to do my job. That's all I'm asking for, so.
Yeah.
But your job, how many hours are you supposed to have at your job, and how many hours do you actually put in?
Right.
Where,
You go way overboard on the amount of time that you put into this job and the things that you do that are about, up and above your job description.
Where are we at in the process of hiring an intern?
You are not, apparently.
Well, I thought we had.
We did approve for
another-
seasonal
Yeah,
worker.
I apologize, I was looking at, some, we have one person that applied for it, which I think we're probably supposed, I don't know if it's been set up to meet with them this Friday.
Okay. And I'm sorry for everybody trying to write your resume, Bailey, for you. So, but you and Bailey and I did have a discussion, and I have made it very clear that if there's something that needs to be done, if, you know, I know it's Bernie's portfolio out there that he oversees, but reach out to me, call me. You know, I got plenty of time to help, and there is some other resources that we can use for tearing down of things if we do have to bring in third-party temp help with some stuff this summer. Because it might be a night of tearing down some stuff, get some day laborers to help out with some stuff. And if Bailey needs to leave town and do anything, and she needs somebody to go out and check on something, I told her I'm willing to do that.
So, I mean, as far as I understand, you know, for instance, Achievement Days, when 4-H comes and they're gonna rent their space and they're working with you as the Fair Association, I mean, they bring their own manpower. They set up all their stock pens. They're not asking the park board or Bailey or anyone to set those pens up. That is all 4-H volunteer help. You know, you talk about the folks with the Purina Dog Challenge, the Endurance Challenge. I don't think that they asked us to set up anything, did they?
Well, the tent. We rented that tent that we really didn't think we were gonna be doing,
Yeah.
but we ended up getting paid for it. But I'm just kind of looking at this thing.
I'm speaking strictly on the manpower side of things. I think that a lot of the user groups that come bring their own manpower and they set up their things.
Some do,
I mean, and, you know, going back to, you know, our help at the pork board level is more of an administrative side. I mean, you know, yes, we have the contracts that you need to run past these folks, whether it's the park board or the Fair Association. You need to sign this contract, collect the fees, open the gate, show them the facilities, those type of things. But as far as manpower, I mean, I see the manpower issue of us, you know, road, whatever we decide the road can do out there, as far as maintenance, and then we've talked about Wayne, but, I mean, I've thrown this idea up for months here, and you know, if it's not getting traction, I mean, we need to do something. I will acknowledge that we need to do something at this point, but I just have always been a little bit concerned about, is it the Fair Association really doing this, or is it the county doing it? And it seems to me like the county's in, you know, we lease the grounds for zero rent to the Fair Association, and I expect them to be the operator, but that's not the case. The case is that they rely heavily on the resources of the county to run their operation. I think that's an
Well, and
accurate
that's
statement.
true, but we just gotta remember one thing. It's at the Stark County Fairgrounds.
Yes.
It isn't the Stark Fair grounds, it's Stark County. So everybody that's involved in Stark County, if we have to use the road department for something, rather than go to an outside vendor, then we go to the road department. Same way with spraying and all the other stuff. I mean, anytime we can use the county facilities already, I mean, it just adds to the idea of Stark County Fairgrounds.
And I can
It's
agree
all
with,
of us.
I can agree with you on
It's
that.
all the taxpayer money.
But also, you know, some of our equipment that we utilize at Stark County was paid for by federal, state grants and state money too as well. So we have to be careful how we utilize that equipment as well, because it's meant for the road department, right?
And when you think about it, it's all taxpayer money. This idea that this is the fair board, this is the park board, this is all taxpayer money.
And I always go back to the technicality of what the Fair Association's mission is. The mission of the Fair Association is the county fair, okay? And it's been expanded through this whole process that's been going on for the last umpteen years here. You know, so I look at, we give the facility to the Fair Association, we collect zero rent, we use county equipment, county resources, given, you know, you've had full access to a county employee, and we're talking about, this is not a small amount of dollars here. And when it comes down to actually collecting user fees, the county gets nothing back.
Yeah.
The Fair Association collects it all.
And I don't see any reason why part of our budget can't be for an employee. You know, when you look, if we get the full amount, we haven't gotten it yet, but If we get the full amount, the 125,000, there's money there to hire an employee. You know, we could have our own employee, but it goes back to, it's all taxpayers in Stark County.
Well,
that pay for that.
we have an opportunity through statute to fund the Fair Association to an extent. And that's where, you know, and I hate to get down in the weeds about it, and we've talked about this at length, I guess, before, but I mean, by statute, Stark County is allowed to give the Fair Association a certain amount of dollars annually to put on the county fair.
Right.
The county fair. That
We don't
doesn't,
actually have something that says the county fair. I mean, we extend this thing out. What's an actual fair board event and what isn't a fair board event? I mean, we have the kids rodeo. That's before everything starts. That's about the first event out there.
I don't see other counties across the state having a county fair that starts in May and ends in September.
No, but I see a lot of them that like Tri-County, for example, they run the racetrack, they run demolition derbies, they run all this, they run 4 months out of the year down in Tri-County down there.
I mean, I hope y'all can see my concern. I'm looking for solution too, and I know we need to get some leadership
Well, it's
going
probably
there.
not something we can solve today, but
Well, it needs to be
we
solved
should get the
pretty soon.
discussion out there and going, so.
I mean, I would ask, you know, at some
I
point.
mean, I just want to make sure when we're signing these contracts and sending them out, that we're not going to be extending ourselves into an area that we're not allowed to be in. We've already sent 2 of them out, you know, for the kids' fair. One to South Dakota, one to Montana. So, I mean, do we say those contracts all of a sudden aren't any good?
But those contracts are just for the kids fair, right? So
Right.
that'd be between the Fair Association's event and the vendor helping put it on.
I
So
guess I would ask
I think
Bernie.
that's probably
Bernie,
not
this is
part
your
of
portfolio. What do you want to see done here? I mean, you've heard my concerns.
Well, that's why I brought up the fact that, and who's in charge of the events, you know? The fair board, and it has done the Rough Rider Days and a few things like that, but everything else comes in, I believe, under the park board or whoever's the event coordinator. And so that's, I mean, I'm basically following what your line of thought is on that
You're
whole
good
thing.
with it? I mean, we got to get to that.
But at that point, you have to have somebody that's gonna be doing the events and the coordinating and the contracts and everything else.
I mean, a little bit of the rub, I mean, I think that we have about, you know, a coordinator, you know, hiring a full-time person, you know, and, you know, a yearly, you know, versus, is that really, do we really need an annual, do they need to work here 12 months, or it can
We
be?
keep talking about bringing this facility up to the next step. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, my thoughts on that were, if we were to ever go that next step of actually hiring a full-time event coordinator, a real promoter.
Because there's work to do over the off months to plan for the
I'm
work
with you.
months.
I'm with you, but you know, right now we don't have the budget to even promote it. You know, if you think about our 26 budget, it's pretty skinny as far as
It is,
promoting.
but in the, you know, our fairgrounds director, whatever, is gone, and that money was in the budget for her salary.
Okay.
So I mean, that's still there.
That line item's still there, yes.
Yeah, and we have some, I had the budget here last time we were here. We have some money, not a very large amount to promote events out there in the budget currently. I think, what do we have, 125,000 or something? I just think that, I mean, at budget time, this really needs to be discussed, is if we're really gonna make something special out of that place, which I think it's got every capability of
It
doing.
has, I mean, it's, I was in South Dakota yesterday, there's some people coming up for the Little Britches Rodeo, and they hear what a fantastic facility we have, and they're really anxious to get up here to see it. So, I mean, we have the facility. What is the step that we believe that we need to go to take it up? And I think we need to have somebody.
So Paul, are you suggesting to streamline the process and kind of absorb that budget into the park board? You would do away with the Fair Association, use that money
You
to
can't do away with the
hire?
Fair Association.
I've suggested that because the Fair Association is purely a volunteer organization, I understand that you have limited, you know, participation there with your, I mean, you have volunteers, it's all volunteer staff, and I've suggested that we skinny down your obligation out there to the county fair we can add the kids' fair to that, that's part of the fair, and the ranch rodeo, you know, give you a time slot that you have full access to that property during that period of time. We fund that as, with county dollars. And in the end, I mean, I think it takes a lot of weight off your plate
So do
as
we
a fair
send
association.
all the other people in here then? Like the kids rodeo and the high school rodeo? I mean, we got, I don't know how we could possibly utilize, you talk about utilizing the facility. You gotta remember, that's an outdoor facility. We only got about 4 months and
We do
use
have-
it. We
we do
got
ha-
every weekend pretty much booked already.
We
Plus
do-
during the week, we got barrel racing and riding. So I mean, if you hire somebody, what more are they gonna do out there? What's there?
Okay, so let's go down to just the idea here. So let's say for 26 here, we stay status quo. Fair Association has the lease with that, and you guys run all the events out there. Everything runs through the Fair Association. There is no need for an event planner on our
At that point,
side.
there wouldn't be. So right now, I mean, the horse group has probably some events that they want to come up and bring in, and do that, I would think that they should come through the park board. I mean, it's not part of the fair, so I don't know how that, I mean,
And maybe
there's
it's
so
just-
much gray areas in here.
We funded that.
And maybe
Yes,
it's
I know
just a
that.
situation where we say 26 is status quo, but knowing full well going into 27. We get into budget talks for 27. We talk about this employee. We talk about, you know, actually putting a budget together to actually promote that facility and stay status quo for 26 here.
Yeah. Well, that's what my idea was to keep 26 like we had it. And the plans that we're making, that's gonna be for 27. To throw all this into 26, we started too late.
It's too late for 26 already.
I mean, we're scheduling a 26 event. She's already doing it. All the people that have been there before. And if we do this for 27, that new person that you hire will be contacting those groups then.
Yes.
And telling them, you now come to me to get your event scheduled. That's how we're gonna proceed here.
I'm good with that.
I have no problem with that. I just
As
think,
far as funding goes, it hasn't, my tune hasn't changed on the funding side, so that, I mean, you know, there is that $124,000 that was allocated towards the Fair Association. I still don't think that, I mean, I wanna see what that that's for the county fair. I have the problem of us funding, here's an event that I really like out there, the Purina Endurance Challenge for the dog thing, okay? That can't be funded by the county in any way.
you've seen how much it cost.
That can't be funded by the county. And I love that event. That's not the taxpayer's job to fund that event.
Right.
That's if the Fair Association wants to fund that event, that's on you. That can't be coming from us as county
Yeah,
taxpayers.
the funny thing about that was, we were told this event was gonna be making money for the fair board. That's the way this went down. You got this event scheduled, hey, we got 3 weeks utilization. The fair board's gonna make money on this thing. Well, we only found out about afterwards that didn't really make money.
I mean, in my eyes, the fair is, you know, you're partnered with Rough Rider Commission, right? And you're partnered for the rodeo and carnival and demolition derby, right?
Yep, and what's the Ranch Rodeo now? That's on a circuit. That's gonna be Bowman, Dickinson, and what, Watford?
And we've made that concession. I mean, I think, I'm not quite sure it qualifies as county fair, but we've made that concession that the ranch rodeo is part of that deal, so it's
Yeah.
fine. But like I said,
Well, I mean, it's
any
something
other
we
event,
need
I
to
just can't
discuss
see
this.
us,
I mean,
I just
like I
want
said
some,
before, I'd like to see this thing where, here's the park board, here's the fair board, you're doing this, we're doing this, you're getting this much money for this, that type of thing.
okay, so I'll ask the
So
question.
we know.
So I'll ask the question. We stay status quo. Fair Association has the lease of the fairgrounds for 2026. What are your expectations for Bailey?
For Bailey, as far as I'm concerned, just what she's been doing.
Okay,
We're not gonna ask her for anything extra. We're glad that she's gonna be there the way it is now. I heard some discussion that you're gonna hire 2 interns,
One more intern.
1 intern?
Well,
For
Bailey
summer
plus
help.
one.
Yeah, some seasonal help.
Okay,
One
here.
seasonal help.
It's just so that we get the language correct. It is another county assistant with making me the lead assistant in that situation.
okay.
So,
But
I
it-
mean,
but
I'm
it's-
looking
But it
at
is seasonal, right?
in the season, yeah.
It's
I-
That's
I believe
part-time.
so.
I think she's part-time.
I'm part-time, yep, and then this, I don't know, I didn't know if these, next one was part.
Temporary seasonal,
Yeah,
correct.
temporary seasonal, okay.
Okay.
But I mean, what I'm looking at is, they said they're spraying. We got a county weed board. Have them come out there and spray. I mean, as far as the
Totally different
mowing
can of
goes,
worm- total
I
different
can't see where
can of
this
worms.
mowing's a big deal.
Well, the mowing is not, the
You know.
weed thing is a different can of worms.
Yeah. Well,
By statute, that weed board was put together to manage noxious weeds across the county. Okay,
Right.
I'm with you. Love to see us. I mean, we own that equipment. I'd love to see that equipment used in other
Across the
ways.
county would include what we have.
and I've asked for an inventory list, so I know what we own.
Noxious
now.
weeds is the catchphrase here. It's what they're spraying out there, not classified as noxious weeds. So,
We will
I
move
mean,
on.
One or two popping up.
well,
through
I'm
the-
sure there is. I know there is. I
Now,
mean,
just in case.
they're
you know.
nestled. They're nestled in there with amongst the other. Maybe that's the way we
Right.
could get around that possibly. So.
Put weed feed on your lawn when you see the weeds, or do you put them on just in case they're there? I mean, that's what we're looking at there. Well, you guys think about this, and I mean, we're gonna have to have some, I think we should get the 26 lease signed, so that everything's covered, and just move on from there, and
So,
when it gets to 27, hopefully we'll have our ducks in a row when we get to 27.
4-H, do you have any input in this matter? I mean, you're a big part of the county fair.
I do, actually.
I figured you did.
You can step away. So as you have all experienced just now, this seems to be probably the huge elephant in the room of what is the county fair. So we as 4-H are providing the exhibits, the educational, the youth, the livestock, opportunities for what would be Americana version of the county fair. We are compensated for the premiums, the judging, etc., through the Century Code, through the Fair Association, through that mill, as my understanding is. So I guess that kind of runs together, though, like you said, we're completely self-operating. So if people want to go to a county fair, does that exist?
In Stark County.
In Stark County, it does not, in my personal opinion. If 4-H is supposed to operate achievement days, as we've always done it, just with a different facility, that doesn't help the overall Stark County fair situation. Will there be concessions? Where do people camp? Like, can there be camping? Who do we contact? Where do people park? Where do the trailers go? Can you also have the carnival? Like, how do those all interact together? And from our experience, it does not interact together well. So I would agree that for 2026, it's probably a little too late. We already have our dates that we are proposing for our council to get our exhibits and all of our things done for the kids and for people's work schedules and whatnot. But for 2027 and beyond, I would say, yeah, there should be, what is the master plan? What's the master layout? What's the master schedule? And what does it look like?
Who's in charge of it?
And who's in charge of it?
Who's taking tickets, things like that. That's
Right.
kind of been the whole thing. Is
Yeah,
our,
who
our
has-
county fair is, it's more than 4-H because there's other things, but it's not. There's nothing cohesive about it. It's
Not
lots
at
of
all.
different
You're right.
sequential
Totally agree.
events.
Totally.
So-
That's basically what Paul's been saying, basically
Yeah,
what I've been
so
saying.
I think that's what you all are more or less saying, but how do you get that to go forward, and what does it actually look like? Do you have the right players in the room to have those conversations? Like 4-H is not involved in the Fair Association at all. We come as a guest one time a year, propose our budget, and I think that helps everyone keep together as per the Century Code, and that helps fund, like it says, the judging and the premiums and whatever is in that list. But other than that,
There you go.
does that kind of cover, I guess, for us? Okay.
I'm with you on the whole
One quick thing
Americana
I do
thing.
want to add here is that coming up now in 26, we are going to have a website that's actually going to be a real website. You're going to be able to get on there. The right people are going to be on there. The links are going to be on there. Somebody comes on there and wants to go to the events link, you're going to be able to get all the events. And this is going to be up very quickly. I mean, we've been meeting with Casey for a couple months now, or 6 weeks, whatever it is. And she told me the other day that they're getting close to having this thing up and running. So So I think that'll make a big improvement too.
Well, I guess, do we need action here, Courtney, of some sort? Are we looking for action?
Yeah, is there a motion?
Well, like I said, I've said my piece on this, and I hope at some point we can move towards that idea of where we're, next year, I'd like to see the park board
Gotta start on it now.
take ownership of it next year, but I would be willing to move forward with a new lease with the Fair Association
So-
for 2026, and I think it makes some sense at this point.
The 26 is gonna be the same as it's always been. That's what I'm trying to get.
Oh, but better,
Well, I mean, a little bit better.
but better.
We'll
More-
have a little more direct
accountability.
management.
Yeah,
And
more
I have
accountability.
brought this up, that when we have a fair board meeting, that our financial report goes to the auditor. Then there's not gonna be a question of where's the money going, how it's being spent. She'll know exactly what it is, and if she sees something there, she can come back to us and say, what are you guys doing over here? You can't be doing this, so. Those are some of the corrections that we're thinking about for the upcoming year. Thanks.
Are we looking for a lease for 2026 that would expire January 1st, 2027? And
December
then
31st.
January 1st, yeah, okay. And then, have discussion about next year and what that would look like, whether it's a memorandum of understanding.
Just a housekeeping thing, your insurance is current, correct? Okay, the lease agreement probably shouldn't change in any way.
Well, I don't know that any of us have seen it lately.
Yeah, there's been one that's
We've
been in
been,
use for years.
years and years.
We'll, we'll take a look at it and amend it if needed,
Okay.
or I will.
Subject to legal's approval of the lease.
Subject to getting some appropriate insurance in place and so on, so make sure that that's all in good shape. Okay. I'd make that motion to move forward with the 2026 lease to the Fair Association.
All right, there's a motion and a second to renew or create a lease that would expire at the end of 2026. Any other discussion?
Real quick, before we started this discussion, did we start the contract discussion? Did we need to approve the contract?
The MOU or?
Or the,
Events contracts?
Oh, the event.
If the
think
Fair
that's what we s-
Association's leasing it, it's their contract,
Yeah,
so.
it's there.
okay,
All right, all those in favor?
aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that passes. The next thing I have is fairgrounds livestock building rental questions. I don't know if that, okay.
Yeah, I
Haley.
also wanted to add that, I suppose a couple of those questions were answered in the beginning when Tracy came up here, but, I do have entities asking for use of the facility, and I have not had any involvement in the development of that building. So I was just looking if anyone had any resources as to what kind of, I'm looking for information that I can hand over to a facility user. So like the size, the type of ground, that kind of stuff, and maybe a completion date as well. So just so that I know.
Kind of flyer, just
Could
information
could you
page for them.
possibly work with Kurt over the extension? I mean, it's tagged the livestock building. I know that we can use it for other things for sure. And
Yeah.
I mean, start there with him. I mean, that would probably be that'd be a great place to start because I think that they can start mapping out some timing for 4-H. They've got that first right of refusal to begin with. But I mean,
Yeah.
there-
I think
I
she's
think that's a
even
very
more-
evolving thing what that building can be used for. There's a lot of things. Of course, we want to use some good sense, of course.
Right, and
I
I'm just
think she
looking
needs
for
more
mainly
general-
the specs, like what I can say, just so I can give them the facts
We
about the
can,
building.
we can get you that.
Okay.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Mester.
yeah, I'll get Bailey whatever she needs. It was regarding the facility, I've got all that information, and I agree. Let's get a template from other facilities, similar facilities, and see what would be a reasonable charge. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Does that help?
Yeah, it does help. Yeah, and then I can update the contracts that we send out as well after that lease is signed. So-
We can get that to you by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to circus dates. Bernie.
Okay, so
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Didn't see it pop up.
I'm Jamie Karski, and I just started the Rough Rider Horse Club, and we're new, so we're just getting started. But I'm really excited because we have a lot of members, and for the most part, we do open rides every Thursday, and we have a horse show September 26th. We also do clinics, and last year we had open rides every Thursday and we used the fairgrounds outdoor arena, but when it rained, we couldn't ride in it. So this livestock building would be like a huge help for us to be able to ride in there. So I'm just hoping that, you know, it's okay with everybody that we are in there when it's open and available. And if necessary, my horse club will provide tools to clean it up, so we won't be trashing the building or anything, so.
I think, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I think that's kind of the expectation of even the 4-H. If they use it, they're kind of expected to clean it up when they're done, so, yeah,
Right.
just use it the same way, so.
Yeah, just mainly the open ride every Thursday, as long as it's not interfering with anybody, then if we go ahead and ride in there, then that'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so the Shriner Circus has been coming to Dickinson for decades. They do a lot of charitable stuff for our community, and last year, there was another circus that booked in over the same dates, which caused probably some financial issues for the Shriners as loss of income. This year they have their dates, and this other circus wants the same dates at the fairgrounds. It got brought up to the board, to the fair board, which I said basically, my understanding was hiring of different events and stuff should go to the park board. So I said we'd bring it up at the park board. We have a local charity that's been doing good for the community. There's somebody else that's coming in and wants to step on it. How do you guys want to deal with it?
So to clarify, the Shriners one is the one that's in town?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're proposing the same date, the ones out at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
They're proposing,
Fine.
I would decline that. Or can they pick another date?
Well, I mean, the thing was, let's say that those dates are not available to them, pick another date, but on the devil's advocate side, which, I mean, I totally agree that we need to support our own, we're supposed to be using that facility to its fullest extent.
I think there was a lot of confusion last year too, like people going to the wrong facility with
There
the wrong
totally was.
tickets.
I'm not arguing that. And Rod here's with the Shriners. I don't know if he wants to get up and say a few words, but I mean, you're looking, that my feeling is, I just said it, but.
I'm Rod Koslecki, and I represent the Shrine. I've been a Shriner since, 50 years, okay? And Shrine's been here before that. All our money that we make, and we put the circus on, we have, it's not run by us. I mean, it's the whole Shrine. They set our dates, so that's why we have to have it open. Last year, when that other circus was here, when ours was here, we lost 25% over the year before, the last year. So I would like them not to be at the same time as us, because all our money goes to 24 hospitals without a cash register.
I'll just throw it out there. Is there a possibility at some point that the Shrine Circus could be at the fairgrounds?
We need a building. Well, we want to look at
I got you.
the new building that
College.
the college built.
Okay,
I want to see the inside of that,
I got you.
because the rec center isn't big enough for us. The circus comes from Bismarck to us and then goes to Thief River Falls. They only bring part of it because the building's not big enough. So if I can get a building big enough,
I got you.
So was it
It
last
might
year
have
was
been
the
I
only?
realized it was indoor. I'm sorry.
So last year, it was the first time they ever coincide.
Yeah, they just don't
And
bring
so,
it.
and I have a hard time, I'm a big fan of the Shriners, but I do have a difficult time. It's like us asking the city not to put something on while we're having a performance as well, so, downtown at their event center, so.
Can we rent our facility to them for a minimal dollar amount to?
so nobody uses it.
Oh, sure. I mean, like I said, I think that there needs to be a collaboration with the city of Dickinson in these events. I mean, it does, we want these events to be successful. Whoever puts it on, if it's
Yes.
ours or theirs, we want it to be successful.
Absolutely.
And splitting up the pie makes both of them unsuccessful. So in any way we can possibly, accommodate each other, I think it's good. And, I know that we could potentially lose some revenue on our side, but for the overall good of everybody involved here, it's probably best to coordinate amongst each other. There's only so many people.
Just is somebody making a suggestion on how to deal with this, and
I would suggest that we let the other, and I don't know the name of the other one, know that that date is unavailable, that they're welcome to
Yeah, they
coordinate
can
and
book anytime after that date.
anytime after or before.
Well, Bailey's
It
been
was a
in
little
contact
early
with
in
them.
the year for them last year anyways. As I recall, I heard that there was a lot of weather issues at that,
Yeah, so I have been in contact with Great Benjamin Circus is their name. I did voice to them that it was unavailable, just per Bernie's recommendation, and they came back with the same dates that they had last year. So I'm just wondering how to proceed with them. So
It's easy.
my suggestion would to just say it's unavailable
okay,
that
Another
date.
date, it's not available. Yeah.
Okay.
We want to support the Shriners for sure. I'm with you there.
well, I wanted
Yeah.
to be public with it.
Yeah.
okay.
Another thing, I can give you dates for 5 years. That's how it gives it to us so we can have a place to have a circus. And if the place out there is gonna be big enough for wherever, that's what we're always looking for.
Sure.
Because the rec center isn't big enough for us.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Eventually, hopefully we'll have a big building out there for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We don't need any action on that, I don't think, Bernie. Moving on to bids for electric sales.
Okay, I've been asked in the past to bring some bids in, and Jeff over at Electric Sales has had these drawn up for a considerable amount of time. All you have to do is put new numbers to it. One bid is for lights on the west side of the bleachers facing to the east. So when the sun sets, there's lights back there for, it's like from where the restrooms are facing to towards
okay.
the bleachers.
Okay.
And the other bid is for outlets, 50 outlets throughout the bleacher area for if we ever do food trucks, if we have some entertainment, stages can be set up, multiple stages for smaller acts can be set up back there. And so they both have a positive input to that facility. The bids are in front of you. I guess you can take it however you want. You can take a look at them, or,
Mr. Messer, do you got a copy of these bids?
yes, I sent them to him.
Okay.
I do, and I have a quick question for you, Bernie. So he's gonna bring a 400 amp outlet or a panel to the back from the transformer there. My question is, he said 8 outlets. So is that 8 of each of those? I doubt it, but it's 8 outlets of consisting a mix of 50s, 30s, and 20s?
850 amp outlets on each one of the, where it's broke up underneath the bleachers as far as, I don't know, supports or whatever, it would go to those supports.
So is it 8 total outlets, or is it 24 total outlets?
It's 8 total outlets,
850 amp outlets?
and each box would have either 30, 20, or 50 plugins in them.
Okay,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
8 outlets with 3 plugins at each. plug.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think conceptually it's needed. It presents an opportunity. My challenge again is money. We've got 50 grand, the way it looks to me, for capital improvements. I don't think we've spent any this year so far. So, and then we're looking at 76,000 worth of improvements. So just be cognizant of that is with my only comment.
Okay, well, I agree with you. It opened up a lot of different opportunities out there, but
And what's the other bid for, Bernie?
one is for lights and one is for the outlets.
Okay.
So, Bernie, just one more question. So was this brought forth by groups that wanted, needed? How was this brought forth? I know you've discussed this before.
It's been discussed multiple times. I don't remember where it originally came from. I think people that were out there for different events said this is an amazing area here on the concrete area behind the bleachers. You could do things with it. I think the light part came from when it gets dark out there. It just to have a better safety issue out there with lights, on that west side of the bleachers as people are leaving and moving around and going to the restrooms or whatever.
Well,
Yeah,
so,
I'm all on board for the lights.
I am,
without
I am
doubt.
too.
I think that's smart.
So just, timing wise, I know we're late in the season. I mean, I'm on board with the lights too. I think that even just for safety, I think it's a good thing to have those. The other wiring, I think
I
it's,
know
I
there
think
was,
it's a great idea.
I know
too.
when the one event was out there and the band was set up all the way on the north end, which left so much dead space between the concession building and where the band was set up, where if there could have been outlets further in, where the band could have been set up maybe halfway, so it would have made a much better event.
Well, I mean, so maybe, understanding our budget constraints for this year, the lights make sense, but is it possible to maybe Band-Aid this for 26?
It could be.
Just a Band-Aid
It-
for 26?
Like I said,
possibly?
Jeff's had these plans laying there for a while.
Yeah.
All he did was put new numbers to them.
And move what's currently, the outlets currently, so that they, I mean, plans always change, and you set things up, and then you find out it doesn't work that great, where the current power sources are, and maybe just by moving what's currently there.
I mean, we drive out there and take a look at it. And you
Move it
get a
south
better
so it works
better
better for
visual-
what you're
visual
talking
thing, yeah.
about. I like the idea of like eventually, once we actually take control of this thing, promote this thing, a food truck festival and all that business, you're gonna need it, and it's something again, that could be talked about in our 26 or 27 budget talks, but somehow Band-Aid it for 26, move the current service
Well, we can-
south.
We can take a look at part of it now for the lights, and the other part we can look at budget time.
So, and I have a question as well. So if we approve the lights for the 8,500, they're all obviously moving electrical stuff around. Would it make sense to have him, while he's already out there, to bring that 400 amp service just in? Doesn't have to bring the legs off of it down the poles, but just while he's there, because otherwise we're gonna pay for him to come out again.
I'm good with that idea, yeah.
Okay.
And then look at moving the current service south is what you're talking, so it just fits in with with
Right.
things better.
So we'd put the power box there, but then in the future, we could move the rest of it south to the,
Yeah.
I guess that would be we'd need a separate estimate or bid on what it would cost, that part of that project, but yeah. I can visit with Jeff about that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, do you want to do a motion to approve the lights and get a separate proposal for that scaled back part, or just wait on all of it?
I'd be good with
Motions?
that. I'm good with moving forward with the lights, and I'd like to maybe rethink the electrical thing a little bit and see if we can fit it in our budget for this year, right?
Well, I
Mr.
could just
Messer, you have
bring
any
back- I could
thoughts on
just
this?
I could just bring back another number at the next meeting as far as the lights. I mean, we could approve the lights now, but it would be nice to know what it would cost at this time to put that other 400 box into there.
I agree with that.
Madam Chairman, my comment on the financial restraints was, and it was brought up earlier, we do have extra money in the overall budget that you have to probably move from the park director's position into capital improvements if you wanted to do all of this at one time, and I certainly would be open to this, because I think these are both valid, legitimate, warranted projects, so that's my comment.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe we do have the money. Okay.
Motion, anybody?
Somebody wants to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to move forward with both projects, and maybe rethink them a little bit. Make sure we get what we want. But yeah, if we have the funding actually in the budget, it's just going to have to come out of other line items. Is that what I understand, Commissioner Messer?
Well, that's my point, we do have money if we want to do this and tackle it right now.
Yeah. And I just not, like I said, is the Fair Association, is managing, are they going to be, are we gonna get any use out of the additional service this year? The lights for sure, we will, they need to happen regardless. I'll just start with that. I'll make the motion to approve the lighting
The 8,500.
for 8,500.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the addition of the lights for 8,500. Is there a second?
So moved.
have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Do we want to also look at seeing what that additional cost, why he's out there pulling wires to see, just to have that 400 amp service sitting there?
Yeah, do you want to do that in a
Yes, I
separate
can do it.
motion?
Oh. Do you want to do that separate motion? or you
Can
wanna
we
keep-
amend it to this motion?
I'd amend my motion to include that, for sure, yeah.
All right. So there is an amended motion. Neil, do you want to second the amended motion? Do you want to need it restated?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would do that.
Okay, so we have a amended motion and a second.
From,
and
who's the second?
Neil, I think.
Okay,
believe.
yeah. Not to dredge up old wounds, but Bernie, be careful with this one.
I'm gonna abstain. And any improvements to any facility, I've sold beer out here in the past, I might sell beer out here again in the future. Even with the 4-H building, I probably should have abstained from voting on that because that's an improvement and somewhere down the line I could be drug into it.
Okay.
4-Hers aren't drinking any beer.
Yeah, we're not.
All right, any other discussion? If not, put it to a roll call vote. Paul?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Dustin?
Aye.
Bernie?
Abstain?
Neil?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Corey?
Aye.
All right, that passes.
Do we want to discuss, I mean, absolutely doing this other part, the outlet part also, or just, do we want to leave it at bringing in just this 400 amp? Because we do have the money for it apparently, so I mean, how do you want to go forward with it?
Bernie, if you'd be open, when I get back, I'd certainly go out there with you and Jeff, and let's figure this out, what is the best direction forward.
Okay.
Because he's probably not gonna install that in the next couple of weeks anyway, so.
More than likely not. I'm good with that.
All right, have we sufficiently discussed covered events calendar coordination? That was the last
Yeah, I guess
item.
basically, yeah, I think we've discussed it to the point where it's not a dead horse, but it's a dead horse at this point. The coordination needs to, I mean, if it's gonna come to the park board, is Bailey in charge of it, or is the park board in charge of it? I mean, events coordination is not part of her job description.
Well, at this point for 26, it's all sitting on the Fair Association again. They're coordinating this thing. That's what they want. This is what they're gonna get.
But I'm just saying, even like with the circus thing, I mean, that needed to come here because up to this point, it's been strongly advised that the fair board's in charge of the Rough Rider Days and the kids event, kids rodeo, and the rest of it's supposed to come through the park board. So there's confusion there, and
Well, there has been. I mean, we're trying to, I think we're gonna shift our motion, or shift this a little bit for 27, but 26,
I'm good with that. On this proposal for electric sales for the lights, do I need somebody to sign this one of it? Or does that go to the commission at this point?
Yeah, I believe we've always endorsed the expense at the commission level, so
Okay.
I see no harm in doing that.
I'll bring it to the commission. Thank you.
Okay, next regular meeting date is April 7th, 2026.
Oh,
Motion-
so now if we ever, and this is just in the future, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Once we get these lights and once we get these outlets, that's gonna be another avenue for rentals for different events. So that's something to look at, what we might wanna charge for that area with the concession stand and the restrooms, but not the arena and stuff, so.
Like a
Yeah,
vendor area.
I agree that this creates an opportunity to extract a little bit more revenue if we want to have people use those assets, so without a doubt.
All right, any other comments, or I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Adjourned.